Cheers, guys. Epix 911, welcome to
Gaming Wednesday. Well, we got to go with we got to go with here. It is the last night that my bro's going to be here, so we got to get some gaming in while we can. Although it's been a bit of a rough night for it, I think.
How many takes have we done, dude?
I think about 6 or 7 at least. So
60 or 70, right? I thought you said 6 or 7.
We're starting to run out of liquid here, so.
Honestly, about 40 or 50 takes. But that's all good, guys, for Tis Time for VR News, the Wednesday, July 12th edition of VR News. Let's start with the first story, a game called Lila's Tale. Now, Lila's Tale is from a company called Skullfish Studios. And what's interesting about this game is you are using your gaze, where you look, as the controller to control your character. So just to describe that a little bit more, in Lila's Tale, you are using your eyes to solve the game's puzzle. So Lila, that's the game's main character. The game itself plays out in third-person view, and all of this boils down to where you look. So, is it eye tracking? Of course not. We know it isn't eye tracking because eye tracking is still under development, and current virtual reality supports HMD tracking. So where your HMD happens to be pointed, well, that's all the game really cares about. So it's not terribly complicated. In fact, it's really oversimplified. And what the puzzles amount to in Lila's Tale is essentially connect the dots style. Doesn't mean it won't be fun. Doesn't mean it still can't be challenging. Just know at its core, it is definitely not what it could be, and almost certainly in 5 to 10 years when we have actual eye tracking working with our VR solutions, what it could be. So just my 2 cents, guys, because we're not dealing with real eye tracking yet, it's basically HMD tracking. Yes, it's going to come across as pretty damn primitive. And I think the game's developers recognize that, and everything I could see based on the reviews I've looked at and the gameplay footage, yes, it's connect the dot, but it's not bog simple. They've actually worked with it to create some challenges. You're not going to be, just check through each of these puzzles. So not bad, but let me know, guys, if you do get this game, how you found the difficulty. Probably going to get this myself once I'm back in Halifax. And in our next news story, guys, Farpoint dev and Impulse Gear founder Seth Louisi, he was asked what features he would most like to see in a second revision of PlayStation VR. And here's what he had to say about that. So in an interview with Finder, asked that same question, he responded, "We are able to achieve a lot with the aim controller. I would love to see that taken further. So I would probably put Move 2.0 at the top. I think room scale would come along just behind that." I would agree. I think recognizing that PlayStation VR is effectively a 180-degree system, doesn't support room scale, doesn't support full 360 right now. Currently, yeah, it's a 180-degree system. It does good with what it has currently, but in the future, as an improvement, I would agree, better move controllers and go full room scale 360. And in our next story, guys, InXile Studios, they've managed to raise $4.5 million. That's not that amazing. What is amazing is what they are doing with these funds. They're putting this towards an open world virtual reality RPG, and that has me excited. The company that raised the $4.5 million on behalf of InXile is Gumi Inc. It's a Japanese company. Their CEO, Horoneo Kunimitsu, had this to say about Brian Fargo. Brian is a legend in the games industry, and InXile Entertainment has a track record for creating groundbreaking PC and console games that feel AAA in scope and size, creativity, ingenuity, and ambition. Over the past year, they have brought in very talented and experienced members as they shift their strategy from single player to multiplayer online games as a service. and we look forward to seeing how they approach the space. Since breaking into VR, we believe they have delivered the best VR RPG game to date in the Mage's Tale. We're honored to become a strategic investor and partner with InXile, and absolutely delighted for the opportunity to work together on the next VR title with such a masterfully skilled team. Now, just what I have to say about that, and you guys know I'm pretty much as smitten with Brian Fargo as the Japanese CEO is, in that I know Brian can deliver because he has delivered. Wasteland 2 Director's Cut Edition, fantastic RPG. Torment, really enjoying it so far. And we're not even touching the RPGs from the 80s and 90s. So, an open world VR RPG? Hell yeah, sign me up. They basically got my money. I haven't even seen what the game's about, but I can tell you, I sure as hell am going to play it. And our next story, guys, a blog post by Facebook Space's head of product management, no other than Mike Booth. He stated that Spaces is going to be adding Facebook live streaming. Now, when you go live from Facebook Spaces, you have a virtual camera. You can position that camera anywhere. Friends on Facebook can comment on your broadcast and ask you questions to participate in the moment with you. You can see their reactions. You'll also see a stream of friends' comments. You can take those comments as literal physical objects into your stream, which is pretty cool. So if it's a funny joke, a really important point, it becomes a tangible physical object that you can manipulate in the live stream. For me personally, guys, I've said this before, not my idea of social in VR that I'm going to enjoy long term. I'll experience it, I'll try it out, but ultimately MMO style VR, that's the social that I want. That's what I'm looking forward to. To me, that's exciting. And in our next story, Oculus, they have stated that multiple titles have now gotten past the $1 million mark in revenue, and they see that as proof positive that their method of nurturing virtual reality titles through investment, through their program, is working. Jason Rubin himself, he said one way to create a sustainable customer developer ecosystem is to do it the way the PC originally did. He goes into, and you can see the whole thing via the link in the description below. He talks about how those original devs would put their games in Ziploc bags, like Alcalabeth, for example, from Richard Garriott. Most of us know that history. Then they graduated to cardboard boxes, and what he was getting at is yesterday's Ziploc bag indie dev is tomorrow's AAA publisher. That's what they're trying to achieve with their whole ecosphere system of investing at different levels. And that's what they believe moving forward is going to make up virtual reality. So today it's 100,000, 200,000 with a company. The next day, the next title, it might be in the millions of dollars of investments as that company moves away from that kind of small scale into the AAA. All right, guys, and that is it for the news for this Wednesday, July 12th. As always, guys, and I start my drive tomorrow across the US. That should be interesting. And future VR news episodes coming to you from Walmart parking lots, Starbucks coffee shops, and the odd McDonald's and Burger King, who knows. Wherever there's free Wi-Fi, that's where I'm going to be. Guys, as always, happy hump day. Cheers.
Hey guys, Exidy here. Listen, Epics is too nice to say this, so I'm going to do it. We need to grow this channel. What I need you guys to do tonight, like the video, make sure you hit the like at the end of the day, subscribe if you haven't subscribed, and most important of all, tell everybody you know who likes VR to come check out this channel, okay? We need to grow it.
Hey, Exidy, you coming, man?
Yeah, be right there.
All right, dude.